What's going on, all you primal Crusaders? Crusader Actual here, and today we're going to do something different. We're not covering Emberlyn Reed, we're covering another fake natty. Grayson? Oh, yeah. No, not you, Grayson. You're not a fake natty. You're natty. We know. We're going to be covering everyone's favorite fake natty, or whatever you want to call him. We're going to cover Liver King today. If any of you have kept up with the fitness industry, there's a man named Liver King. Liver King, right? That's what he's called. He refers to himself in the third person. He's a big-time fitness influencer. He's all over TikTok, all over YouTube, all over Snapchat too. And he's a big, ripped, well, he's pretty short, but there's nothing wrong with that. But he's a ripped individual, right? He's shredded, absolutely shredded, does some hard workouts. The workouts he does are pretty brutal, right? So we're going to take a look at Liver King today. So if y'all have kept up with Liver King in the past, right, he's come under fire in the last week. So he's claimed in the past, he's gone on multiple podcasts. People have always asked him, since he's become very popular on social media and stuff like that, if he's natty or natural. And what that means for you folks that aren't maybe well versed in that is if he's not taking any anabolic steroids. So if he has the physique that he has, if he trains as hard as he does in a natural status, which means he doesn't take anything.
There's a lot of subprimals that are convinced that Liver King is taking steroids. I'll say this. Do you think if I was on steroids, I would have these fucking appendages down here, these legs?
Have legs?
Do you see how fucking little my fucking legs are?
So over time, being called natty, it's been a little subjective, right? Because it's like, at what point do you draw the line between natty and enhanced? So enhanced is generally a term we use for people that take anabolic steroids, stuff like that, at least in the bodybuilding community. But people don't really know like where you draw the line with that. Like if you take creatine, stuff like that, are you considered not natty, whatever. But I think the hard line really is if you inject yourself or ingest anabolic steroids, that is at the point in your life when you are not natural. So I want to talk a little bit about the Liver King for a little bit before we get into the actual apologies. So kind of a baseline, right? A YouTuber named More Plates, More Dates, or his actual name is Derek. Highly recommend his channel. He's very intelligent in terms of pharmacology and things like that when it comes to, when he talks about bodybuilding and like, when he talks about anabolic steroids, estrogen, human growth hormone, how that kind of works in your body, and what all that stuff means, right? So he's very intelligent on that. He has his own clinic, from what I understand. For those of you that are unaware, for men, right, when you reach a certain age, like your testosterone slowly starts leveling down, and men will generally go on something called testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, or sometimes called HRT, hormone replacement therapy. Derek from More Plates, More Dates, I believe, owns his own clinic, so he's very intelligent in all these things. He speaks a lot about it. That's the majority of what his channel is about. He does natties or not, which essentially identifying certain individuals, whether they're actors, influencers, whatever, and tries to just, you know, kind of identify if they are in fact natural or not. And a lot of people too, just for forewarning, right? A lot of people claim that they are natural, that they are not taking any anabolic steroids or anything like that, right? Because in some countries, depending on where you live, it is illegal, right? And if you're not prescribed testosterone by a doctor, it is in fact illegal. At least in the United States it is. I believe in Canada it is not. In other countries around the world it is not, right? So just unfortunately in the United States it is illegal. So in this video we're gonna kind of talk about the Liver King here. I'm gonna react to his apology video, kind of talk about the background of it, what happened, what led to this apology, and we'll react to the apology itself. I think also in the beginning we'll talk about kind of what Liver King, who he is, the companies he runs, and kind of his business practices and what he believes. I think that's a big baseline in all of this. So we'll talk about all those things. Before we get going, guys, I just want to ask you to consider liking the video, commenting on it. It really helps with the algorithm. The algorithm goes on YouTube. The more you comment, the more I get exposed to the rest of YouTube. I don't know, some crazy stuff. And also, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Definitely appreciate your support in that. Also, I want to take a moment to thank all the Noble Knights. So they're all listed here. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and all you do. You really keep this channel going and keep me very invested in continuing to do what I do. So thank you so much for that. If you're interested in becoming a Noble Knight, it's $2.99 a month. You get access to emojis to use in chat, which for live streams or premieres, and I premiere all my videos. Also, you get early access to videos at least 24 hours in advance, or 12 to 24 hours in advance. And also, you get a badge next to your name when you're chatting and comments and stuff like that to indicate that you are, in fact, a noble knight. Alright, guys, so let's get into this video. Let's talk a little bit about Liver King. So I'm going to take a couple minutes, really, to talk about the Liver King and his supplement company. So really, his website is called thefittest.com. I did not know this prior to going to it. It is thefittest.com. So let's take a little bit to learn about what's going on here. So there's Liver King right here doing his crazy workouts. So our badass vision. We were once the fittest version of ourselves, descendants of the baddest mammalian predators that ever lived. So basically, he kind of talks about his idea for going through these ancestral tenets that we'll go over. Basically how we chose to be weaker versions of ourselves in the modern society. We're very comfortable. We're okay with that. We don't choose to challenge ourselves or struggle or anything like that. And basically with what we choose in our modern life, right, it has left us across the board very weak. Right, malnourished with an epidemic of declining strength is what it says at the bottom right here, right? You see that? So let's take a look. Liver King pushes something called the 9 ancestral tenets. So what are these tenets? It sounds kind of cultish, you know what I mean? Let's take a look at what these tenets are, what they mean. We'll kind of go by them one, and then we'll kind of hop into the apology after that. Sound good to you guys? Let's do it. So there's 9 tenets here. Sleep, move, eat, sun, connect, bond, cold, fight, and shield. What do all these mean? So Liver King believes that these are 9 tenets that we should practice every day that our ancestor did. And this kind of gets us more in line with our ancestral traits, kind of gets us back to that kind of lifestyle, and that's what he preaches, right? So let's take a look at all these. So sleep, self-explanatory. You need to sleep. And obviously I agree with this. Sleep trumps everything else. Really, you should prioritize sleep over a lot of things in your life. Sleep is incredibly important to reset the body, to rest, recover, all those things. Especially if you're training hard, working hard, sleep is extremely important for not only that physical aspect, but the cognitive aspect as well. So I agree with this. This is a good tenet. Sleep is incredibly important. Now, Liver King has some weird views that, like, you need to sleep on the floor, like sleeping in a comfy bed's fucking dumb, like whatever. Move is essentially a tenet of just like working out, like take care of yourself, stuff like that. Obviously I agree with that. Become the fittest, most dominant version of yourself. And the quickest version of what move is, that's what it is, right? Essentially work out, move your body, take care of yourself. I agree with that. Eat. Obviously, you need to eat to survive. Amber Lynn Reed talks about it all the time, you know?
Don't get me wrong, we need food to survive. That's why I think this is so hard for me. People have to eat to survive. You need food to survive.
I have to eat to survive. You do have to eat to survive. So devour the whole animal. Now, he believes in kind of weird aspects of that, but eat. You know, eat. It doesn't matter what you eat. You gotta eat to survive. Sun. Get out in the sun. You absolutely should. Sun is important. Being exposed to the sun, having your body exposed to the sun, getting vitamin D, all those things are important. I agree with that. Connect directly to the earth. So essentially, I think what he means by this is just getting into the like being one with nature. Understanding nature, things like that. I mean, essentially with this one, he says connect directly to the earth. Liver King's basically saying stay close with nature, which I don't think is a bad thing. There is some substance to getting out in nature. There's a lot of good things you can learn from nature. There's a lot of good takeaways. The more you learn about what the world around you can provide, the better. Like, for example, right, there's certain plants that fight inflammation, right? Like garlic, turmeric, like black powder, ginseng, things like that, rosemary. The more you learn about being in nature is honestly the better. So I can't really argue too much with that. Next one, bond, that you see there. Bond, you can't really see it. I'm kind of covering it, but bond. So kind of as the Liver King says, we belong to a far greater purpose, right? To go about and bond with people, establish a community, make friends to have fun with, right? So that's kind of harmless, right? Bonding is essential for our survival, which it says there. So cold. It says there, treat injury and recover faster, but also kind of Liver King talks about that this tenet kind of, it's wanting you to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So it kind of states that comfort is not good for an individual, so get cold. Me personally, I do think there's value in becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's good to challenge yourself in that regard, but I don't think it's something you have to do all the time. I don't think it's necessarily going to change who you are as an individual. Next one, fight. What does fight mean? So let's take a more in-depth look at fight here. So it says, what does it mean to fight? It's likely that you don't have to fight for basic survival. Your most basic needs are probably met. You're not looking over your shoulder for an animal or a human hell-bent on taking you out. So what does it mean for modern kings and queens to fight? No matter what the word fight means in your life, it all boils down to taking on a challenge with a certain amount of preparedness and determination to face the challenge head on and kick ass with confidence that comes from knowing that you're ready. So kind of what that screams to me, essentially pushing yourselves in a kind of hokey, progressive mindset, talking about winning the day and achieving goals and lighting an inner fire, right? That's kind of basically how I see it. Basically, just be very good at what you do and destroy everything in your path. That's kind of the vibes I'm getting from it. Shield is kind of one of those where I'm a little unsure of what that means. So on the website here, while I'm looking, it says modern dangers are stealthy and take work to avoid. Let's take a more in-depth look at this thing. So shielding from dangers looks far different today than it did to our predecessors, but that doesn't mean you are free to speak. But that doesn't mean you are free to soak up the comforts of our world without consequence. From toxic seed oils, additives, chemicals, and popular food choices to harmful plastics, aluminum-heavy deodorant, and flame-retardant clothing and furniture, we live with these endocrine-disrupting substances on a daily basis, and they wreak havoc on our health. Not to mention the EMFs emanating from your ever-present, oh-so-desirable Wi-Fi routers that's connected to every electronic device that you use day in, day out. These dangers are real, and although they are less intimidating than a lion trying to steal your recent kill, which no one here is killing anything, shut up, they are potentially more deadly. But yeah, I don't know, this is kind of a silly thing to me. Like, I don't think if we are progressive in our society and have progressed technologically, like, why can't we have these things? What's wrong with using Wi-Fi and stuff like that? This one's kind of silly to me. I mean, this is just a lot of nonsense. This is very culty-like stuff to me. Whatever, I don't care. This is kind of silly. So I just wanted to show you the 9 tenets, right? This is kind of what Liver King believes. This is his thing. This is what he's like all about. This is what he preaches when he goes on podcasts. So for those of you that don't know, so kind of some background here. So not too long ago, at the time making this video, about a week ago, well, really starting back, so Liver King he got popular May, June, July of 2021, very much with the intent to become a popular influencer and preach his word essentially to people is the best way to say it. Very fit dude, does very hard workouts. I will not deny him that. The shit that he does looks out of control, very hard to do. It would destroy me trying to do some of these things. And I'm a pretty fit individual. But he became very popular. He's got a ripped physique. His name's Brian Johnson. He's a little shorter dude. Not that that matters or anything, but he's a little shorter stature. Maybe 5'6", maybe less than that. Shorter guy. Very incredibly ripped. Very muscular. Low body fat. But anyway, so he's been preaching his word. He's been on multiple podcasts discussing the ancestral tenets and how we need to... as men, right, we need to live like our ancestors did. They were much stronger, higher testosterone, things like that. We've kind of gotten away from that. That's his big message. So just kind of some background. That's his big message. He wants us to kind of get back to how our ancestors were. Because modern day men are weak, we need to kind of get back to how we were back in the day. And by back in day, I mean multiple thousands of years ago. So he's been on multiple podcasts, and one of the top questions that pops up is, are you natty? Are you natural? Do you take steroids? In which he aggressively attacks and says, no, I have never done it. I have never touched that stuff. No. And then he'll use stupid excuses like, look at my legs. My legs are not as ripped or strong as my upper body, which that doesn't matter.
You know, face it head on. I don't touch this stuff. I've never done this stuff. I'm not going to do this stuff.
What stuff?
The ass full of steroids that he talks about.
You've never taken steroids?
Never taken steroids. I've never done PEDs other than prioritize, execute, and dominate in life.
And this dude has even like triple, quadruple down on this claim that he's not natty by even doing things as insulting as this video clip right here.
Liver King here. A bunch of primals keep asking if Liver King is natty or not. I decided to really face this head on and show you my stack. I stack liver and bone marrow every day. I stack the sun and the earth every day. I stack blood-burning workouts twice a day, every day. And if you stack the 9 ancestral tenets, you too can express your most dominant form. And by the way, this was my cameraman idea, so tip of the hat to him. I don't even know where to get this stuff. But I will tell you this is filled with maple syrup.
So he would use just very excuses like that and claim that he's not natural. Kind of hopping into everything before I get into reaction. So Derek from More Plates, More Dates, the YouTube channel, which I highly recommend you check out, posted the emails that he got from an unnamed source that kind of highlights Liver King's what he takes. So this came out before he got widely popular on YouTube, on social media, but that was always his intent. So I'll kind of scroll through some of the emails here. The show what he discussed, because he was talking to a coach at the time trying to understand what he needs to take to get bigger. And he highlighted which steroids or substances he was taking prior and what his goals were. right? So he took a lot of human growth hormone, right? So you got omnitrope that you'll probably see in there, which is a former grade human growth hormone. Testosterone cypionate, a form of testosterone with a certain amount, with a certain ester different from other ones, which esters just dictate how long, like different half-lives and how long it stays in your system. He's taking Deca. Deca is just another steroid. Winstrol, which is an oral steroid. So he's taking a lot of stuff, and I just want to note, from the amount he was taking for the human growth hormone, like the omnitrope and the peptides, if you look at Mr. Olympia open competitors, like the main open bodybuilders, like guys like, some of you are probably familiar with like Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, but if you look at today, like Big Ramy, who's the reigning Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry, stuff like that, not accusing them by any means, but these are allegedly things that these type of guys would be taking to get as big as they are. So in my opinion, just looking at what Liver King is taking, it's a lot more than some of these Mr. Olympia competitors are taking, right? And these are professional bodybuilders competing at the very highest level, right? And Liver King's exceeding them in what he's taking. So one stigma I kind of want to hit, and like I said, Liver King has come on a lot of podcasts. He's asked all the time if he's natural, which he says no, or which he says, yes, I am natural. I have never touched steroids. I've never done steroids. But yeah, so back, Derek, he was sent these emails where Liver King, very obviously in the headlines here, it's his email. This dude has such an ego that he's willing to say his name, which is Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson is Liver King, by the way. If I mentioned already, that's his name. And his own email, Liver King here. And then even at the bottom with this quote, it's like some fucking Liver King stuff. So I just point that out because I believe it's very, very much him talking about like what he needs to take, what he needs to do, stuff like that, and lines out his stack. So it's very much him in my opinion, and what other people agree is him as well. So it's kind of the proof is how we finally found that he is in fact taking anabolic steroids. But if any of you have been in the gym before, you probably know he's already taking stuff. But now he's just having to admit it. So he was busted.
Oh, busted. Little cookie on the way to the gym.
And then this lasted about 3 or so days, and now he's finally put out an apology video, right? Because he needed to address it. Because the big thing, right, he would always push on his company, which I showed you that website I was on. He would always push like, yeah, I look this way because I train twice a day. I've been working out since I was 8 years old. I only eat like raw animal meat and like eat very clean. I work out twice a day, like I said, train hard, all those things, right? And that's how I look the way I am. So in my opinion, this provides a lot of false hope to people, right? And he's like, yeah, like train like I do, buy my supplements, you'll look like me, right? Which you're essentially manipulating your target audience to buy your shit, to spend money so you can make money to look like you do, which is just not a thing. Now, what I will say on the flip side, not every man or woman that like looks muscular, has a great physique, does not mean they're taking any additional substances, right? So that's always a tough part too, because I mean, I think Liver King's physique looks absolutely ridiculous. He's a 40-something-year-old man. He continues to get better over time, like looks better, looks bigger, more muscular, super lean. It just doesn't seem achievable. But there are people that, you know, there's some people here that have crazy genetics, like are in like the 0.001 percentile of people with just amazing freaking out of control genetic that do train natural and are in fact not natural. So I'm not saying you can't look amazing without taking, you know, steroids, testosterone, whatever, right? Like you can still train hard, but it's very difficult because there are some people like this guy right here, Paul Sklar. This dude's like in his 50s, looks out of control. But I mean, he looks like he's got a physique that he's been training hard for like 30 years, like on the grind constantly, always eating clean, always training hard. And he's been accused of he's been accused of steroid use too. However, he actually did his blood work because, you know, there's a thing, right? Your blood never lies, right? So typically the easiest way to tell if people are taking steroids or anything like that is blood work. And I'm not going to get onto it. Like I said, you can check out More Plates, More Dates. He talks about all that stuff much smarter than I am on it. But this guy, Paul Sklar, he did that. He was like, cool, I'll prove it to you. I'll do it. He did his blood work, came back clean. Like Derek even analyzed it, came back clean. Like this dude's natural. And look at that physique at 50 something years old, achieving that naturally. So I'm not saying that every person out there that has a crazy physique is not natural. There's exceptions, but it's extremely difficult And you just compare Paul Scala's physique to like Liver King's, and it's still like Liver King just still looks ridiculous, and he's in his 40s. So I think there's no comparison. I've been looking at physiques for a long time, right? Bodybuilding. I'm pretty conditioned at looking at men's bodies at this point. So you can there's some telltale things that you can tell, but I'm not going to get into that. Before I get into the reaction, right? I just want to say I don't care if people take steroids. I don't care, because at a certain age, men have to get on testosterone replacement because their body slowly starts taking it. So I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. What does matter to me is manipulating a population of people, like young men, that are already incredibly insecure with how they look because they're growing up watching TikTok and Instagram and seeing what they're supposed to look like. And then they see guys like Liver King that are like, oh, if you want to look like me, you have to eat like me. You have to follow the 9 ancestral tenets, and you have to train like I do. And it's unrealistic, and it's very extremely toxic, and just gives a lot of people false hope, because they'll buy all of his supplements, waste all of their time doing what he does, and they will not look like him, right? So that's my problem with it. But anyway, we'll get into this reaction, and I'll talk more as we go. But yeah, Liver King confession, I lied. So he loves to talk about himself in the third person. We'll see if he breaks character and is like actually honest about who he is and what he does, but I fucking doubt it, because he's got an ego.
Primals. I'm making
Primals. Yeah, that's right. So he calls people primals, and if you disagree with him and you don't like what he says, you're a fucking subprimal. So we're all subprimals.
this video to apologize. Because I fucked up. Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed. Because I lied.
Dude, his PR guy is so good. His PR guy is very good. His looking down, his looking sad. What I will give him, though, he did not do the typical YouTube apology where he gets up there and he just sighs. He's like, I didn't want to have to talk about this, guys, but... You know, like that typical YouTube apology that we always seen. He just jumped right into it, so I respect that a little bit.
And I misled a lot of people. I've stated that this is a complicated as fuck topic, at least to me it is, because before social media, I was rich and anonymous.
He's got to make you know that he was rich. He has money. He has to make sure that you know that, because this is a genuine apology.
And after social media, I'm still rich.
Well, by the way, after social media and he got famous, he's still rich. Just so you guys know, don't question it.
But no longer anonymous, and I never expected this kind of exposure in the public eye. It's been tricky as fuck to navigate.
Yeah, it's not like you have a whole team that you hired to help you navigate through this, you fucking idiot.
Well, clearly I did it wrong, and I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes.
There's the sigh.
I've done steroids.
Yep.
And yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician. Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message.
How come it's always when these like wild characters come out, they say that it was like a social experiment? I'm trying to think of, I think like I think Nikocado Avocado has briefly said it. Amberlynn Reed has said that she's like not, that's just a YouTuber, like her persona, that she's not actually like that, but that's false. I think Shane Dawson has done something like that in the past. I don't know. I know there's multiple YouTubers that whenever they get caught doing dumb stuff, they're like, oh, this was a social experiment. Oh, well, I've learned so much.
To bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves.
Yep.
The 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves.
So you just got to manipulate the audience to show that this was all part of the bigger picture, that he's not doing anything wrong, he's never done anything wrong, that he's actually looking out for everyone. He's actually looking out for all of you, right? So it's trying to take the pressure off of him. So this is essentially very manipulative.
Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility,
But that has nothing to do with him lying about taking steroids.
Ambition in life.
In order to make money off of them to buy his supplements. He doesn't realize that that's the problem.
Our young men are hurting the most, feeling lost, weak, and submissive. So I made it my job to model, teach, and preach a simple, elegant solution called ancestral living, the 9 ancestral tenets, so our people no longer have to suffer, so we can collectively express.
Well, you can practice the 9 ancestral tenets, but you also need to buy my supplements.
Our highest and most dominant form. This is my fight. This is why I exist.
This is why I blasted $15,000 worth of testosterone and human growth hormone a month to look the way that I do. This was my fight.
While spreading the message, I've been on several podcasts, and when asked if I've ever taken steroids,
said no.
I've always said no.
Yep.
I don't touch this stuff. Not gonna touch.
He even went as far as to do some corny video where he had syringes filled with whatever substance, like sticking in the food he was gonna eat. Like he even went that far. He didn't just double down. He didn't just triple down. He like quadrupled down on this fact that he was in fact natural and was not taking any anabolic steroids.
Touch the stuff. Never touch the stuff. That was a lie.
Yeah.
I've convinced myself that this had nothing to do with the ancestral message. I convinced myself that I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind, so who the fuck am I cheating? I convinced myself that this topic was a placeholder for a far more important conversation. I convinced myself that this would overshadow the 36 years of working out, usually twice a day.
You gotta throw that one in there. So it's always funny with guys that are fake natties like Mike O'Hearn and other people like Liver King. They will always be like, guys, I look the way I do because I worked out since I was like 8 years old, guys. Like, I've worked out since I was 10. Like, they'll say something ridiculous like that as if that makes like a fucking difference, dude.
Without PEDs. I've convinced myself that this was the vocal minority, usually in the fitness category, driving to an unproductive
He does a stupid Liver King isms too, like this thing. Like, he can't even break character to do a full apology because he doesn't give a shit. He just wants to make money at the end of the day. He doesn't care about you. He just cares about making his money and he cares about his brand.
Conversation. And I had convinced myself that this would be the wrong message to send to the 15-year-old boys.
I'm sorry. I need to be over here because so you can see his full body.
So I continually dismissed it and I dug myself into a bigger and deeper hole. I have only myself to blame. I did that. And it was all wrong.
Just like
I will be better.
Just like Amber. I did that.
I did that. I did that.
I did that.
I will talk about it openly because I believe that there's a time and a place for pharmacological intervention monitored and managed.
There is, and there's absolutely nothing wrong when you become the age and your natural production of testosterone slowly starts dwindling down and you start feeling like crap. There's absolutely nothing wrong with going to a doctor and getting treated for it and getting testosterone intravenously to and injecting and getting testosterone externally to give yourself that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
By a trained hormone physician.
And honestly, if he admitted all this from the beginning, no one would probably care. Like, everyone knew, but now it's just like, wow, dude, you lied for this long and you only admitted it because you got caught. Like, that's what people are upset about. If this dude came out day one, he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm taking a ton of stuff. People will be like, oh, okay, well, we still like the message that you have, though. Like, I guarantee you, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal.
In 2021, when I was 43 years old, I didn't feel 100% physically or cognitively. So I went to get monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician to see what the fuck was going on with my life.
I love how he talks, dude. It's so dramatic.
And so, yes, it's true. I have tried several peptide combinations in an effort to increase my growth hormone, and it didn't work, meaning that my levels still remained below the normal level. So yes, it's also true that I've tried pharmaceutical grade growth hormone, and I
Which is expensive as fuck, dude.
finally found success in managing therapeutic levels in the normal range. Yes, this is true. I've continued on with 0.6 cc's of testosterone per week, roughly 120 milligrams of testosterone a week.
So when you look at a syringe, right? A lot of syringes 1 to 3 milliliters, right? It's 0.6 of a milliliter. That's how much he's saying he injects a week.
And no, I don't take any other steroids like nandrolone or winstrol,
But he
I
did.
have tried them in the past
Yeah.
without success. Yes,
But I mean, all this could be a lie, you know.
it's also true that my blood chemistry got all fucked up while taking nandrolone and winstrol. My lipids got all deranged.
Yeah, I mean, that's typically what happens.
My liver enzymes went sky high,
Yeah.
which is why clinical oversight is an absolute must. Nope. The Liver King brand has had nothing, or at least very little, to do with my business success.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely not the fact that you've garnered all these followers based on your physique and all these things, right? That has nothing to do with the success of your businesses. Which, by the way, this dude talks about his success of his businesses at every opportunity he gets because he's such an egomaniac that he has to, like, talk about these things at all times.
My companies were already kicking ass.
Yeah, I mean, it surely helped. His goal, dude, in 2022 was to get to, like, 1 million followers, and he's at, like, 3 point whatever now. Yeah, sure, dude, that certainly didn't help in the growth of your business. Dude, shut up. You're an idiot.
Already successful before the Liver King public figure, growing at 50% year over year, and still growing at the same pace.
Unnatural, enhanced physique. You don't think that had anything to do with it?
After the Liver King public figure. Nope. I've never had ab implants, ab etching.
Oh, that's another big thing in the rumor mill is that he has fake abs, that his abs that you see are implants, which, I mean, who knows? He's lied to us about his testosterone intake, so who knows what he's lying about now. Me, personally, I don't know. When you look at it from certain angles, like especially from the side, like I've had abs my whole life, right? And when you look at pictures of myself when on stage at bodybuilding competitions when I'm like 6-7% body fat, doesn't look quite like his do. His like protrude, stick out all the time. Like even like, it almost looks like even rested, right? It does that. So I don't know. I'm a little skeptic on that. I feel like there are ab plants there. But again, that's just my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with that. And it doesn't mean that it's true, right?
Or any other plastic surgery, and I sure as fuck never actually had gene editing done in Singapore.
Gene editing and I don't even know what that rumor is, but I'm going to look it up.
I made all of that up. It was all intended to be a joke, and that's an expression of ancestral 10 and 10. Have a little goddamn fun. Ultimately,
yeah, have a little fun. Pin your butt with a bunch of cc's of growth hormone, testosterone, take some orals, take some Winstrol. Yeah, have a little fun, guys. Ancestral 10 at 10. Have some fun.
why did I, or why do I do them? When I talk about the 85% of the population that suffers from self-esteem issues, that's me. I'm part of that statistic. This is why I fucking work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week.
He cannot break character, dude. It's so disgusting. So here's my problem with this. Here is why I dislike this guy so much. And here's why I think he's a toxic fucking fucking influencer that needs to get off social media and stop talking to people. Well, and stop influencing the younger generation of men, right? Because this dude right here, so he talks about here how he understands the whole idea. Essentially, he's getting into body dysmorphia here, right? So he feels the pressure to look a certain way, right? Which I think is a pressure that everyone here understands. Doesn't matter if you're a man, doesn't matter if you're a woman, doesn't matter if you're transgendered. It doesn't matter. You all feel this pressure, right? No matter what gender you identify as, you feel this pressure. Because you open up Instagram, you open up TikTok, and you are filled, or Facebook, whatever, and you are filled with these ideas of what you are supposed to look like. And typically, for men, it's a very muscular, lift heavy weight, big dude. That is what you're supposed to look like. Very low body fat, abs protruding, all muscles popping. That is the ideal male physique for women, right? And I'm just talking men and women here. I'm not trying to exclude anyone else, but women, very slender, big butts, small hip, big breasts, like flat stomach, abs, like that is what society is deeming that women have to look like. And then prior, when I was talking, that's what society is saying that men have to look like. Liver King is claiming to understand this. This is why he pushes himself so hard. He felt this pressure, but he's also the one pushing that he essentially he's getting into like, I started taking stuff because I felt the pressure to look a certain way. Sure. But it's also extremely toxic and extremely like horrible that he like understands these concepts, but he posts his stupid ass ancestral tenets, eating raw meat, all these things, which is like out of control, and then training the way he does and be like, yeah, if you do these things and then buy my supplements, eat the way I do, follow my 9 ancestral tenets, you might be able to look like me, which I think is a horrible, horrible thing to do, because you're giving a lot of false hope. Young men, women, whoever that like looks up to Liver King is going to push themselves to these limits, follow these things, and come up short and be like, what the fuck's wrong with me? They're going to think it's a them thing. They're going to think they're not trying hard enough. Or, to Liver King's benefit, they're going to keep buying more and more of his supplements and keep doing the same thing over and over again. I don't know if he sells programs or stuff like that, but they might buy his training programs, stuff like that. That's why it's so toxic, and that's why I cannot stand about the fitness influencer fucking realm of social media, because it's so toxic and it's just further hurting young men and women, or it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, men, women, whoever, everywhere. Just this idea of how we are supposed to look. It's terrible. That's why I have no respect for people like Liver King. He tries to preach like he cares about these people, but he doesn't. He cares about your money. He cares about how much you're going to pay him. And the only reason he's talking about this is because he got caught. So he is forced to talk about it, or it looks worse. But he doesn't give a shit. He just wants your money.
Just to feel like I'm okay. Still, I have to absolutely crush myself to do so. And I'm wrecked physically and cognitively. And hormone replacement has helped in a profound...
And hormone replacement's fine, dude. Like, go to the doctor, get checked out. If you need hormone replacement, do it. Who cares? It doesn't make you less of a person to need those things. It doesn't. It's natural. We live in a society, like now, where these are, like, we've made such profound leaps in medicine, where we can take care of our bodies even long after when they like naturally start producing the hormones that we need to perform. We can get those into our body, It's an amazing thing, and you shouldn't feel ashamed about having to do that.
In a significant way. And still, I believe that the path to paradise is paved in fucking hell.
Okay.
I previously have said in a weird way, I'm grateful for the recent events that have shed light on this complicated as fuck topic. I knew
it's not that complicated, though. If he would have admitted it from the beginning, no one would have cared. You know how many, like, Noel Diesel, I don't know how to say his last name, but he's a popular bodybuilder, fitness influencer. I believe he's sponsored by Rise. He's a picture above me. But dude, this dude's super honest about, like, what he takes, that he's taking testosterone, stuff like that, and looks the way he does about that. But he gives a super wholesome message. Nobody gives a shit that he takes stuff because he's honest about it. No one cares. Like, if you choose to take anabolic steroids, that's on you. No one cares, right? And at the end of the day, guys, like, you have to understand, if you take these things, it's not cheating. Like, you still have to, I mean, depending how you look at it, right? You still have to put in the work. You still have to train hard. You still have to eat right. You can't just inject yourself with anabolic steroids and just blow up and get massive and muscular and huge. It doesn't work that way. You still have to train incredibly hard and eat right and take care of yourself. And while, like, I do not like Liver King at all, I will not deny that he does not train hard. He trains really fucking hard. And that's why he's had the results that he does. That's why he looks the way he does, because you still have to antagonize the muscles and get them to want to grow. And that's how the anabolic steroids help and build those muscles, make them stronger, bigger, and all those things, right?
Knew I needed to take this opportunity to openly discuss
because you got caught.
Everything for me to be a better human. If there are any questions that remain unanswered, send them my way.
He's not going to answer them.
I fully own that I fucked up.
Yeah, you went on for a full year and a half just lying to people, and you're okay with that. The only reason we're discussing this is because he got caught.
Sorry as a man can be. And all I can do is take extreme ownership right now, be better, and lead myself to a better life as a better human. Again, thank you to everyone for the support, the criticism, the love, the hate, and above all else, the loyalty. Liver King. Out.
He even gets up and walks away. Okay. Alright, guys. Well, I know this isn't my normal video, but I like to talk about fitness stuff from time to time, and I think this is a very crucial topic to talk about. And I can't stand, like, I've told you before how much I hate the fitness influencer community, how toxic it is, and this man is another example of how toxic it is. And just how honesty, just be honest with people. If you are in a position where you are a public figure and you have tons of people looking up to you, just be honest. There's nothing wrong with it. No one's gonna hate you. I get it. Like, steroids are illegal in the United States, and that's where Liver King's out of. But, like, just be honest, man. Tons of people are. No one would have judged him differently if he was honest from the get-go. But people are going to certainly judge him now. Now that he lied and misled a ton of people just to profit off of them. I've heard another theory. He's playing 4D chess, that he intentionally leaked this stuff in order to for it to come out so he can benefit off of it. I don't know. I don't really agree with it. I don't think he did. This man has too much of an ego, too much pride. He still refers to himself, even this apology video, in the third person. Still refers to himself as Liver King. Still keeps up the stupid act of being the Liver King. I think he has too much of an ego to do it himself. I just don't think he would. I think this was a genuine leak, and I think he's having to pay for it now, and I hope he does. I mean, I don't think his business is going to change. I don't think his business is going to fail or anything like that. You know, if you guys have been on YouTube at all for the past years, like, whenever people come under scrutiny or get in these scandals, like, it lasts a couple weeks and then the world moves on, and that's probably what's going to happen with Liver King. But I hope he pushes a better message. I hope he doesn't lie to the audience anymore. I hope he's not a toxic figure to young men and women and whoever follow him in the future. That's all we can really hope for, guys. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, let me know what you think about Liver King in the comments below. I'm interested to hear. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. For more content, really appreciate it. It really helps the channel. It goes a long way. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you. Y'all stay safe out there. I'll see y'all in the next video.